DICE and EA have had a rather interesting week, haven't they? Star Wars Battlefront 2 is finally out, and boy is there a lot to hate about the game, how its progression has been handled, the story, you name it. Let's get into 15 things that hardcore players, and even I, a non-hardcore player, hate about Star Wars Battlefront 2. Story woes. What is going on with the story of Star Wars Battlefront 2? Do you think it's about Iden Versio, an elite Empire soldier battling the rebellion? Or do you think it's actually a disjointed tale of an anti-hero that jumps from one mission to the next, some separated by several years, without much time to really let anything sink in? Throw in way too many twists and turns, and Star Wars Battlefront 2's campaign just comes off as extremely odd with its pacing, especially as time goes by. Bugs, bugs, bugs. Ever been stunned by an enemy and suddenly stuck in a wall? How about operating a TIE fighter and seeing your screen vibrate continuously? What about jerkiness in performance? Jim Sterling noted all these glitches in a recent video, and while it's one thing to say that games are expensive to make and deserve microtransactions, could we at least get a game that doesn't have these issues? And if you haven't had these issues, great! You're sadly only one person. Abrupt ending. So coming back to the story, Iden Versio seems nice enough and you're probably getting a feel for all this. Then it ends. Find out what happens later in the story mission DLC. No, you didn't hear that wrong. There's no proper conclusion to Star Wars Battlefront 2's campaign, at least from a narrative standpoint. DICE essentially pulled a Destiny 1 here to support its games as a service model, or something. I honestly don't know at this point. Short campaign. Even with all these criticisms in mind, it also doesn't help that the overall campaign for Star Wars Battlefront 2 is too short. But don't take my word for it. HowLongToBeat.com also estimates that the main story and any extra story content can be completed in just 4.5 hours. DICE and Motive will be continuing the story in future DLC, which is free for now, but why not have a more complete story out of the box? Star cards and advantages. Let's leave aside the whole crystals and microtransaction debacle. Why are star cards even in loot boxes to begin with? Why do players who spend more time with the game and garner more credits get an advantage simply because they bought more loot boxes? Why was this entire system even pay to win to begin with, aside from exploiting your most loyal players? The whys just keep piling up. Enormous amounts of grinding. Let's be real though, for a game where random loot boxes can contain items that impact gameplay, heroes that need to be unlocked with credits, cosmetics, and whatnot, there's a lot of grinding in Star Wars Battlefront 2. One Reddit user named Ryuzi estimated that it would take either 4,528 hours to unlock everything or $2,100 spent on loot boxes. You could make the argument that not everyone needs to have access to all the content in a game, but when it impacts the game so severely, then you're wrong. Hero woes. Before removing microtransactions from its game, DICE tried to reduce the overall credit cost for unlocking heroes. That meant Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, the costliest of the heroes, would cost 15,000 credits instead of 60,000. Weirdly enough, despite nearly every other pay-to-win advantage previously dropping from loot boxes, heroes did not, which seems balanced, right? Well, credits did drop from loot boxes, and it was possible to buy plenty of those to unlock a hero. Matchmaking pipe dreams. DICE has already stated that to keep things balanced and non-pay-to-win, our words, not theirs, it will ensure that players are match-made against others of similar star card level. Take skill, latency, location, playlist, and whatnot into account, and it's tough enough to get a perfectly balanced match in any multiplayer game. Hoping for the same with star cards thrown in is a pipe dream at best, especially when the player population starts to lower later. No credits in offline arcade. For security measures or whatever reason that's been provided, you can't earn credits when playing offline in arcade mode. Now contemplate this for a second. The game is already a major grind and ties loot boxes to progression, even if it doesn't let you pay for them anymore. But it's also always online and gives you nothing if you play offline. Credit cooldown in arcade mode, so you're online and just want to play arcade mode for a good few hours rather than getting stomped by players with the very best star cards. We hope you like limited rewards, because there's a limit to how many credits can be earned in arcade mode. When asked why this was the case, producer Paul Kesslin said it was to ensure that the mode wasn't abused in a way that would impact multiplayer, while ignoring the loot boxes that could previously be purchased that also impacted multiplayer. But hey, at least Kesslin said they're looking for more ways that players can earn credits. No separate audio sliders. In light of everything else, this may seem like a nitpick, but there are no separate audio sliders in-game for music, weapon fire, announcers, and sound effects. If something is too loud, you'll have to turn down everything rather than adjusting settings to your liking. Again, it's a small complaint, but yet another odd oversight on the part of DICE. Galactic Assault. Galactic Assault is meant to be Star Wars at its grandest. It has multiple stages with teams of 20 players battling each other with vehicles, heroes, different classes, and whatnot. So it's a bit odd that such matches feel so short. On top of that, you can't choose which maps you'd like to play because reasons? DICE probably didn't want to ruin the population by allowing some maps to be ignored and others played, which is fine. At least there's a server browser. No server browser. Oh wait, no there isn't. It's not like a server browser is a new concept for DICE. After all, Battlefield 1 has a server browser as well, so why couldn't this be implemented into Star Wars Battlefront 2? Why couldn't players have the ability to choose their maps and modes with this one custom tool? Maybe this was to ensure that credit-boosting lobbies weren't made, but that's just my guess. Temporary removal of crystals. EA finally removed microtransactions from Star Wars Battlefront 2. Hooray! A major battle won for the consumer and justice and puppies and oh wait, they're only taking them out temporarily. Now, if microtransactions return and loot boxes only yield cosmetics, then hey, all well and good. But fans are looking at this as EA trying its best to convince players of change, garnering as many sales as possible at launch, and then adding its insidious microtransaction system back in later. Tone-deaf developer and publisher. So you had a major game publishing company and want to make money. Lots of money. That's great and all, but your loyal consumers tell you that they don't want pay-to-win elements in their $60 multiplayer game. So you adjust loot boxes and only allow epic star cards by crafting. Nice, but wait, they're still complaining about the pay-to-win elements and cost of heroes. So you lower the cost of heroes. Someone give you a raise. But wait, players are still complaining about the pay-to-win elements. So you finally remove microtransactions, but say they'll be back later after things are adjusted. Star Wars Battlefront fans are frustrated, and when you have a company as tone-deaf as EA to deal with, it's easy to see why. That'll be it for this video. If you like what we're doing, please go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.